In today's video, we talk about science versus bro science. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Saturday morning. I'm Paul from ProPhysique.com, and I want to first of all thank everyone that entered the contest to win the giveaway. So what I did was all the comments in the section. I'll show you the video here. I actually just hit randomly select a winner. So I got my 4 winners. I actually got 5. That's just in case one of the winners didn't follow through with their other obligations with the Core Nutritionals page and with the tagging 3 people on my page. But we'll get the winners. Once I get that, I'll get all you guys to contact me. I'll reach out to you, and then we'll get you your gift certificates for free Core Nutritionals products. For those that didn't win, you can always go to corenutritionals.com and use this code PaulR20 to get 20% off all of your purchases. And now let's get to the topic at hand. And it's something I think it's very important as far as the lifespan of a competitive physique athlete, or someone who's just interested in making progress in the gym, you know, getting stronger, getting leaner, all these things. And that's the argument of bro science versus science, okay? And why I think we can't discount something just because it's considered bro science. So for those that aren't familiar with the term, or you've heard the term and kind of wonder what it meant, I'll give you my opinion on what bro science is. Bro science is basically when you accept something as fact because it comes from the guy in the gym who is the biggest, leanest, most muscular guy, right? A lot of these ideas that they get, oh, sorry for the wind, hopefully it's not hitting the mic, but a lot of the ideas that come from people that are genetically gifted, well, those people can make progress in spite of what they do, not because what they do is optimal, and yet we can accept what they're saying and doing as basically the way it should be done. The cool thing is that we live in an era where evidence-based research and approaches are more powerful than ever. For example, let's talk about one very popular myth, and that is fasted cardio, okay? So the idea that cardio done in a fasted state burns more body fat comes from the idea that there was a study done years ago, and it showed that if you were in a fasted state, a higher percentage of the calories burned would be from adipose tissue during that steady state cardio. The problem is, and it sounds like it makes sense, right? Like, you don't want to burn up glycogen while you're doing cardio because that's not a part of your body. You don't want to burn up muscle. It makes sense that you would want to burn body fat. So I get where that comes from. That study only looked at the time around the cardio. It didn't look at the big window. When actual research was done, it showed that while yes, you burn more total calories from fat, if you do fed state cardio, you actually burn more total calories, period, thus greater fat loss. So there is actually no benefit to doing cardio fasted. Now, does that mean you should never do fasted cardio? I don't feel there's a time to do it, but I'm also not opposed to it if it fits someone's lifestyle and their approach better. So, this is the type of thing that I'm talking about, bro science versus actual science. But I also don't want to discount bro science, because one thing we have to think about is years ago, before it was accepted, bodybuilders were doing things, training at higher frequencies, eating higher protein diets, things that are now being researched and being shown to be effective. So there is benefit to anecdote. But what we need to do is blend the two, right? We need to be able to blend an evidence-based approach and blend a science-based approach. So let's talk about cardio, for example. Now, we've talked about HIIT cardio in my videos. We've talked about steady state cardio in my videos. We've even just talked about the difference between fasted and fed state cardio. But in a contest prep, just because high intensity cardio might be better, does that mean that's the only thing we should do? No. You have to be able to blend that with your goals, with your overall progress, specific to what you're trying to do. So we can't do HIIT cardio every day, right? We can't do endless bouts of high intensity cardio. It will run us down. So we have to mix it in with what we're already doing. We have to take into account what our training is like. We have to take into account what our lifestyle is like. That's what evidence-based and bro science is all about. I am not anti-bro science. It gives us a lot of information. Most of the research that's being done right now is because bro science exists. So bro science is basically a theory. Like someone comes up with an idea that this is better. This training style is better. Training to failure is better. Training high reps is better. Training low reps is better. Training, for strength is better. We are now seeing that they're conducting research on all these topics. And it's because of the bro scientists out there who have done years and years of BSing. But they've actually found that there's some benefit to the way that they do things, right? So just because something is labeled as bro science doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong right away. The real issue that there seems to be with an evidence-based approach is research is very difficult to do. Not only is it very difficult to do, but getting it approved through a review board, getting the results published, heck, probably the hardest part is getting participants. We'd all like to see studies done in competitive bodybuilders or people that lift religiously, but the problem is those type of people do not like to be put into a study if it conflicts with what they already want to do. Most of us that have a background in lifting, we have our beliefs that we believe in, and so when it comes to doing a study, if it doesn't fit our parameters, then we're not going to do it. So it's very difficult to do research, and for that reason, bro science needs to continue. Okay, we need to continue to postulate and have ideas on why things are the way they are so that we can experiment. Something that Lane Norton said years ago, gosh, it's probably been 10 years since he said this. He basically said, he wanted to try to grow his legs, and he was training them once a week and, crushing them for 30 sets on those days, and he couldn't walk for 3 days and they weren't growing. And someone said, well, try training them twice a week. And he thought, well, that's a terrible idea. That's overtraining. And I think bro science, when I first started training, was conventional wisdom. You trained a body part once a week and you crushed it and you let it rest a week because it takes a week to recover. And I did that for years. And I remember when Lane said this in the bodybuilding.com boards, he said, well, when I trained legs twice a week, they started to grow again. Lo and behold, the idea of more frequency and more total training volume within the same time frame was the catalyst he needed to grow his legs again. Likewise, I noticed something similar. After years of doing the same old split, I jumped into something where I was doing chest 3 days a week, periodized, and also doing other body parts twice a week, and lo and behold, I started noticing a lot of progress. And it was that same thing. It was that bro science kind of got in the way of actual science. Now we're seeing a lot of research on periodization, undulating periodization, and these are all exciting studies that are coming out. They're helping powerlifters, they're helping bodybuilders. At the end of the day, we all want to see progress. Now, the only time I have a real problem with bro science is when it's preached as gospel and it's actually BS, okay? So if you ever hear someone say you have to or you should never, speaking in absolutes is just something that I don't think I will ever do, just because we're always finding conflicting information. There's always people with different variables in their life, different situations. So using words like always and never, it's just something that I will always and never do. I don't think there's a place for it. And even with an evidence-based approach, right? Even when we quote studies, so I'm quoting a study that shows this, and I'm quoting a study. Studies are fallible. They're not law. They're not foolproof. A lot of it comes down to the researchers. And yes, there are researchers with biases going into a study that are going to make those studies look the way they want. So you have to be able to look at the study, read their methods, see their conclusions, and then decide for yourself if that's something you want to believe in. I'm really hoping this wind isn't so bad. That's where I feel like people like myself can help out, because honestly, a lot of us don't have time to read research. I like to just give you guys information. I mean, sometimes I even like to just be told what to do for that reason. So yeah, that's basically where bro science and the evidence-based approach kind of blend, right? At the end of the day, we're all looking for the best way to get the best results. Just look out for people that are zealots one way or the other. This is the only way you can do things. It's always been done this way. So-and-so does it this way, and she won the Olympia, or he won the Olympia, okay? There's so many compounding variables when it comes to what works for one person versus what doesn't work for someone else. I mean, one of the first rules of exercise physiology, like right there, is principle that basically states two people will get different results from the same stimulus, okay? Because there's one variable that often comes down to, and that is genetics, all right? Simply stated, genetically speaking, we are all capable of different things. And yes, when you see someone who is genetically freaky and they carry a lot of muscle and you want to imply that they use steroids, I mean, you've got to consider there's people walking around this earth that are 8 feet tall, okay? Like, the human condition is so variable that I don't really like to place limitations on what's possible. And it doesn't change the fact that your genetics are your genetics, and they're gonna not change because you want to hate on someone else or you want to accuse somebody else of something. So yes, evidence-based approaches, while very helpful, they're not going to change your genetics. And sometimes, even if you do everything right, diet, nutrition, train consistently for years, you might not even look nearly as good as somebody else with subpar diet, subpar training techniques, but amazing genetics. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me today for the bro science versus evidence-based approach. The shirt I'm wearing, Waits Before Dates, I did get some new clothing in, so I like to keep some clothing in stock. I don't buy a lot of it. If you're interested in any of the clothing from me, just go to teamprofizzique.com, and I have a Shopify set up with Steven manages all that for me, so if you order something, he'll get it shipped out within a day. Anyway, guys, hope you have an awesome Saturday, have an awesome Easter weekend, and I will talk to you next week.